moving on to our next session. It's the consumption keynote. Well, if there's one thing that this budget did, it was to give consumption a push. The consumption story of India is changing rapidly. Consumer behaviors and spending patterns are shifting as incomes rise and the Indian society evolves. These shifts have big implications for how companies position themselves. And who better than Mr. Bhaskar Bhat, Managing Director of the Titan Company, to tell us more about this. So,
welcome, sir. Good evening. After that very, very inspiring speech by the Minister and preceding him, Arunji, I don't know what more we can add to this august audience at the end of the day. But the future of consumption, I'd like to just share from the limited experience of Titan Company, where we see consumption going, and I won't share numbers with you, but ideas with you. You may disagree, you may agree, but it's still worth thinking about. So, future of consumption, in a land that celebrates, I'm sure it's a new word, that fifth word in that is a new word in the Oxford Dictionary. Future of consumption in a land of what? I think we celebrate this country. We are a coexistence country. Everything coexists with the other. So that word was contradictions. I just reversed and put it in the previous slide. India is a land of glorious contradictions. And this is all I want to share with you. And I'm not going to talk historically. Just throw up some 7 ideas to you as we see navigating in this marketplace. My predecessor who spoke about Bihar, for example, and it is a coexistence of a glorious nature, India and Bharat living together. So there are several topics, 7 of them. Premiumization and value seeking, collective and the individual, indulgence and sustenance, digital and detox, trust and suspicion, silvers and youth, local and global. Everything is true about India and everything coexists. This is the opportunity that India and Indian companies need to understand and perhaps leverage. So let me start premiumization and value seeking. I have just picked examples, so there is no data, but successful examples. Some of them are from Titan itself. So let's start with premiumization. I think, where does premiumization start? I think the greatest gift that this country has given businesses, I'm not talking people, is that every person in India, whether in the far corners of the northeast or the south of India or the northwest or in Mumbai or in Delhi, is aspiring for a better life. The right to aspire is democratic. Whether your ability to reach that aspiration you're able to fulfill is different in different people. And why has that happened? I just want to give you one example, which is since 82, we have opened up our economy, in terms of communication. We have the largest number of channels, even though now you have to select your channels. I think 1 week back, you have to select channels that you want to watch. We have the largest number of channels we can watch. So whether you're in a village or in a city, you're watching the same lifestyle. So the right to aspire is democratic, and that is where the premiumization journey has started for every company. And I'm sure the leader of Maruti sitting here, I can see your example. Fantastic move, sir. The Nexa example, I keep talking to my people about how smartly Maruti has leveraged the premiumization aspiration of Indians. It is widespread across all categories, whether you look at FMCGs, you look at schools, international schools, premium paints, the whole works. But at the same time, Indians are also value seeking. There is another part of India, or the same person for different occasions is willing to pay a premium but is value seeking. Urbanization, the mobile phone, it has become sharper and sharper and sharper. We are the lowest cost country in the world in terms of the cost per the ARPU, as you call it. I believe it's gone down to 119 rupees after the entry of Jio. The other is, it is so obvious and it's in front of us, air travel. Could you ever have imagined 15 years back, air travel was considered premium and we would have thought this would be on my previous slide. But it is not so. Yes, Indians have aspired from a train travel to air travel, but I think the Indigo, the airline, SpiceJet, and everybody's brought air travel so close to people, and it's become a value-seeking customer who's now growing that industry, not just business people like us. The numbers are just growing exponentially. So it is the coexistence of contradictions. That's what I call it. The collective and the individual. What is the collective? Collective is about seeking togetherness, seeking exploration, convenience, access, variety. Basically, in the watch business, you have retailers who want to go to company stores, but there are consumers who want to go to company stores, there are others who want to go to places where you get all the brands. But that is not a good example. I think the best example are the platforms, Amazon and Flipkart. Today, the kind of consumer who's exploring on Amazon and Flipkart is several hundred times bigger than the company internet operations. Any company. You combine all the top companies in India and put their websites together, their online business is not even 1/10 of a Flipkart plus Amazon. So, people are going to the collective. The rapid growth of platforms, as I said, aggregators, and then there is Uber Eats and Uber Clap and so on, Urban Clap. At the same time, people want to have their own private space. There is the collective and there is the individual. As you can see, we discovered this in a very funny way when we made a watch for the Calcutta consumer depicting the Howrah Bridge and through 2-3 other iconic architecture pieces of Calcutta. And the kind of response we've got, the watch is not really a useful device on your wrist anymore. It is about emotion. It's no longer about timekeeping. So, it is about the individuality. It is my Calcutta, my watch. That's what appealed to us. And then I saw across Raymond's Made to Measure, the biggest brand in men's suiting today. From clothing to made to measure, it's catching on. And of course, how Netflix, I'm sure this year's Oscar probably will go to a Netflix film. Indulgence and sustenance. I don't have to talk about this. The big fat Indian wedding is all about indulgence. And I must be honest, we make a lot of money in the Titan company through our Tanishq brand, celebrating weddings. But it's not just that. It is everywhere. Indulgence are in vacations, eating out, health and wellness, entertainment. And of course, there are brands. And you can say premiumization and indulgence are sitting in the same space. They're perhaps not. But at the same time, exactly on the opposite side, much like individuality and collectivism, there is sustenance. Sustenance, which is people caring more about the planet. I think Arunji spoke about this. Businesses are caring more about the planet, but people, it is almost like ISR, we are talking about CSR in our companies, but individual social responsibility, the consciousness amongst people is driving them towards brands. It happened abroad many, many years ago, but it's happening and rapidly happening. And I must admit, though I don't have data, I think it's the women in this country who are championing that much faster than the men. Maybe I'm wrong, but it is so. We are seeing that, and we just launched can you imagine a company like Titan, which made watches and jewelry, to want to get into silk saris, hand woven? It's amazing the kind of response we are seeing. People are just loving. People told us this is a category I think you should forget. I think women in India will not, it will not grow the sari market. But it is surprising. I think it's a combination of Indianness and the authenticity and the desire to sustain certain values of which you cherish. Digital and detox, I think the first bit I don't have to talk to you at all about. I think we are all at the mercy of the mobile phone, the iPad, the laptop, and the whole works. How much we use that and how convenient it has become, we don't have to talk about that. But the detox bit, I think sooner or later, we are all going to push back on excessive use of technology. It is called continuous partial attention. I could see even, I know when I'm speaking, I'm sure a lot of people are looking at their mobile phones. But I was looking at the mobile phone while the others were speaking. It's a part of our life now, and it's called continuous partial attention. You're paying continuous attention to everything in front of you on the mobile phone, in the email, on the messages, in WhatsApp, and somebody in front of you. It is all continuous but partial attention. That apart, the detox bit is suddenly going back. Do you believe that despite Apple having become the largest watch company in the world, having beaten Rolex to the game because of its smartphone, the demand for the mechanical watch continues. The demand for luxury globally is increasing. Maybe it's not the biggest company, but the Rolex and the Audemars Piguet and the Patek Philippe and Omegas, all of whom make mechanical watches, they still celebrate. What is it? It is neither accurate as a quartz watch, nor is it inexpensive. But it is still about something. You want to go back, and I call it detox. So it's not the smartwatch. It is, something you want to. It's like buying a painting, let us say, I guess, Trust and suspicion. I think this I don't have to talk about. More and more companies, people buy products from companies where they believe they can trust, who they believe they can trust. We are seeing this in our watch business, in our jewelry business. It's only trust. But I think the suspicion is the bigger part of it. We are always suspecting that, somebody is watching you. You don't know what's happening to your data. Governments are getting involved everywhere. Companies are building data and privacy safeguards and policies. You know about Cambridge Analytica, Facebook, data governance, the whole works. It's become cyber security. You can spend 1 crore, 100 crores, 1,000 crores, and still your audit committee chairman will say, I'm not feeling safe with cyber security. So these are sitting together, trust and suspicion. Silvers and youth is the last bit I want to talk about. We have celebrated the millennials worldwide. We have been so happy that India is a young country. In Titan, we have celebrated with brand after brand for the youth, fast track, and we made a lot of money. But finally, when we did research, and that's where analytics plays a big role, we realized that the youth, that millennial customer, and I'm not holding anything against them, wants constant change, so your product development cost is high, wants constant change of advertising, so your advertising cost is high, and pays a lower price, okay? Whereas those we call silvers, they are the hum kisi se kam nahi generation, These are the 45 pluses. They are the ones who are brand loyal, pay a higher price, many empty nesters, and are willing to therefore spend a larger amount of money on indulgence. It's a big discovery, and there are many, many millions of them. So you can make a choice. You want to pursue the silvers, I'm talking about silver as in the color of the hair, or, of course, youth. Youth is all about me and myself. Somebody is warning me, don't talk too much about the youth. Must be my kids. Local and global is the last bit. I think local sourcing, local product, especially in food, in music, in mythology, in cinema, everything is local, but there is global everywhere. We cannot push back global. So I'll come to the end of my presentation, really. It's just a few thoughts I wanted to share about this wonderful country where contradictions are celebrated. Thank you very much.